What's up, guys? Recently I've had a chat with a few musician friends of mine about what do they carry around in their gig bags, in their guitar cases, so on. What are those essential things that you cannot leave home without for a gig? And also some other non-essential things which may still be useful for when you go out and play live. So, even though playing live won't be a very common occurrence in the near future, thanks to COVID. However, let's go through a few things that as a gig musician, you should not leave home without. I'm going to go through a few things that I personally always keep in my guitar cases. So, most of my small to medium-sized gigs actually require me to carry around an electric guitar, a spare electric guitar if needs be, an acoustic guitar, and my Line 6 Helix floor. In total, I might carry up to 3 cases at once. So I'm going to just go through what I keep in each case for the small to medium gigs I usually play at. I had actually thought about mentioning what I would usually take with me in the event of playing at a gig where I would need a pedal board and an amplifier, but that would probably be for a different video altogether. So let's get down to it. On my desk here, I have all these items sectioned into 3 parts, okay? So the one on my far left here are the items I usually take with me in my electric guitar case. The ones in the middle are what you would usually find in my acoustic guitar case, and the ones on my far right are the items I usually keep in my Helix guitar backpack. So starting off on my far left side here from the items I usually carry in my electric guitar case, I have my cable. So this is an ordinary jack-to-jack cable, my Ernie Ball, which is braided, very sturdy. I like having my cables with a right angle jack on one side and a straight jack on the other. For the simple reason that if there's a gig where the audience is very close to the stage, they're jumping about and they're close to your pedal board, pedals or whatever, this side proves very handy because this side, one stomp and the jack breaks off, also causing damage to the jack connector on your pedal. So very handy to have. Here I have my in-ear monitors, which are a 64 audio pair of custom molded in-ear monitors. A friend of mine, Eric Wedge, who is an amazing bassist, actually gave me the genius idea of writing my name and phone number on the front of the case. 64 audio allow you to have some text printed on the case, and as a musician who has lost a pair of in-ears before, Eric has repeatedly advised me to do so just in case any kind soul would find these and would return them to its rightful owner, i.e. me. Underneath my in-ears, I have a pouch which velcros itself onto your strap that houses any body packs belonging to wireless systems, be it a guitar wireless system or an in-ear wireless system. Very handy tool to have strapped to your back without having all the clutter of cables from dangling out of your pocket. Next to my in-ear monitors, we have a little handy tool here which features a string winder at the top, a string clipper at the bottom, and on this side you have this little shape here which is used to pull out the plastic string pins from an acoustic guitar. Very handy to have. Next we have strings, which I have quite a number here. I have multiples of each 6 strings. I use gauge 9 strings on most of my guitars. So basically here I have 1, 2, 3 E strings and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 B strings and multiples from the rest. It's always good to carry spares. You'll never know when a string might break, and it's probably in the worst situation where you don't have a spare guitar and you need to change as quickly as possible. At the bottom here we have a Bluetooth foot switch, which is an AirTurn Ped Pro. I basically use this to flip pages on my iPad from the score I would be following without having to take my hand away from playing and flipping manually with my finger. Next, I have my tremolo arms. I have this weird habit of keeping my tremolo arms in my guitar case so that when I'm using the guitar that needs a particular tremolo arm, I'll have it in my guitar case, screw it in, and I'm good to go. Next to the tremolo arms, I have a USB power plug. It's a UK 3-pin on one end and 2 USB ports on the other. I like keeping this because even though you're meant to be prepared and show up to the gig with a fully charged phone, tablet, whatever, it's always good to have this in dire situations where you need that little extra juice to charge your devices. Here we have a GHS fast fret. Not necessarily a must-have, but it's always good to have something to lubricate your strings. Next to the fast fret, I have my USB lightning cable for when I need to charge my iPad or my iPhone. Above is my guitar wireless system. This is a Mooer Air P10, which is made up of 2 devices like so, one being a transmitter, one being the receiver. And what's nifty about this product is that it's supplied with a Y USB cable. A USB-A on one side and 2 mini USBs on the other. So basically, having this USB power plug, I can use one port to charge both my transmitter and receiver and have the other free to maybe charge my tablet if needs be. Moving up from the guitar wireless system, I have my capo, pretty self-explanatory. Also, fun fact, capo is short for capodastro. Why? I don't know. This is another small multi-tool which features a set of Allen keys as well as some screwdriver bits for any situation that you would need screwdriver bits for. Last but not least, we have an e-bow. Again, this is not necessarily a must-have, but it's a nice little tool to have for when you're attending a gig that allows you to get a bit creative. For those of you who do not know what an e-bow is, this is basically a device which houses a 9-volt battery and allows you, via powers of magnetism, to continuously vibrate your string, causing endless sustain. Well, endless for as long as the battery allows you to. So let's move on to the items I usually carry in my acoustic guitar case. You have your cable here as well. It's the same Ernie Ball cable I mentioned earlier that I usually keep in my electric guitar case. Same USB power plug as mentioned before. Capo. Another lightning cable as I mentioned earlier as well. The same old multi-tool by the Dario. A similar set of Allen keys and screwdriver bits which can be found at any department or hardware store, as well as a couple of 9-volt batteries. Now, most of my acoustic guitars, actually all my acoustic guitars, have pickups in them which require a 9-volt battery to operate. It's always good to have a spare battery. You'll never know when it might run out, so it's always good to have an extra one so you can just pop it in and continue with your gig. Strings. Another packet of strings here, this time for acoustic guitars. As you can see, I've already started using some of these strings as I like to place, actually jot down across on the strings that I've actually used and that I would find missing in the pack. I actually need to replace these because if, according to this pack, if my E string breaks during the next gig, I don't have a replacement. Over here we have the first pair of in-ear monitors I had ever bought, which are the Shure SE425s. I don't usually keep these in my acoustic guitar case exclusively. I usually just take them around with me in the event that my main in-ear monitors fail. So far so good. That hasn't happened yet, but it's always good to have a spare when you can. Last but not least, here we have a tuner. A clip-on tuner by TC Electronic, which is the Polytune. I like to keep these hanging around in my acoustic guitar case because not all of my acoustic guitars have a built-in tuner. I would highly recommend these, especially the TC Electronic ones, not necessarily the polyphonic versions, but even the monophonics will do just fine. They're very responsive and they can get you out of very sticky situations if your acoustic guitar doesn't have a built-in tuner. So, moving on to the list of items I usually carry around in my Helix backpack. Starting off, I have my iPad, which I usually use to follow musical scores from, and also tweak around my in-ear monitor mix from the apps that correspond to the general mixers that the front of house guy would usually be operating from. Your IEC plug to power up the Helix, a USB Type A to Type B cable for those times where you'd need to open up your MacBook and tweak the presets from your Helix. An iPad mount. This is a K&M iPad mount which tightens itself to a mic stand or any kind of stand. And this is also a good model because it can adjust to any dimension of tablet that you own. So even if down the line I won't remain possessing this kind of iPad particularly, I can move on to adjusting this to any future tablets I may own. An extra cable, because you can never have enough cables. I know I've mentioned I have one in my acoustic guitar case and one in my electric guitar case, but here's another one in my Helix case. This is an Allen key. What kind of Allen key? I do not know. So, I basically use this Allen key to adjust the tightness of the expression pedal on my Helix. So if anyone knows the exact measurement of this particular Allen key, kindly leave it in the comments below so anyone could know what kind of Allen key they can carry around to adjust the Helix expression pedal. Finally, I have a pair of XLR cables tied together using cable ties. These are rather long, if I'm not mistaken around 10 meters, and they're color coded to actually be able to identify them when I'm dismantling in a rather dark area. Some of you may be asking why you carry around XLRs for your Helix. Doesn't the front of house guy usually provide the cables to the mixer? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Depends on the size of the gig, depends on the front of house technicians as well. Just in case, either way, I like to carry a pair of XLRs for whenever I might use them. So obviously, to keep all these items in your guitar case, you need to have a guitar case that provides enough pockets and sections where you can store these items. I don't usually use my guitar's original cases. I usually leave them here at the studio. So in the case of my electric guitar, I have this. This is a Gator GPG padded guitar bag. It's a very strongly padded guitar case with a microfiber interior that is very, very soft. Probably my guitar sleeps even more comfortable than I do here. Oh well. Not to mention the number of storage compartments it has to store all these tools mentioned throughout the video. This is an almost identical version to the GPG guitar case. However, this is the GPG double. It has basically all the same feature except for the fact that it's thicker. Why? It houses two electric guitars for when you have a gig that you need a spare guitar to carry. It does take its toll on your back if you're going to carry two guitars. However, if you're the kind of person that prefers carrying two guitars in one case rather than having two separate cases to carry about, then I guess this case is for you. This is an SKB acoustic guitar case. It's not an actual hard case, however it's very sturdily molded and it has all the compartments you need to store the items that you want to take with you for a gig. One small accident happened with this case is that the front pocket tore. However, Dad came to the rescue and he knit it back to place. Another Gator this time round, which is the Gator GL Jumbo. This is an acoustic guitar case made for jumbo guitars, although dreadnoughts do fit in pretty well. However, I had bought this because I wanted to carry around my Gibson J200 in a case which has compartments that can store all the items I mentioned throughout the video, and this for around 66-65 euro was a very good bargain. So, yep, one up for Gator again. Finally, this is the Helix backpack. It's not exactly the cheapest case you can get for your Helix. There are other alternatives which are not as expensive but can actually do the job quite well. However, I had got this because it was on offer with the Helix as soon as the Helix came out, and it served its purpose very well. It's very sturdy, it's water resistant, and it has various storage compartments of different sizes that fit quite a number of things that you might want to fit. So that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed the topic of guitar cases and the things that can be placed inside them, as well as the sight of this lapel mic continuously pulling down my t-shirt collar throughout the video. I'll just wear a shirt next time. Also, if you feel that there is anything I have left out from the things that I've mentioned, and you feel that should definitely go in your guitar case, make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know. Until next time, make sure to like and subscribe, and take care.